Hello everyone, this is Johannes.
And this is Cinema.
And you are watching Board Gaming Ramblings.
And today we are taking a look at the Glade.
This is a game from Richard Breese, published by R&D Games.
It plays from 1 to 4 players in 1 hour.
So, the Glade is a abstract strategy puzzle set-making game. You are going to use tiles that have different animals, different features and different leaves on them, and you're going to place them on your board. You're going to place them out so that they either have, they're going to be sets of 1, 2, 3, and 4. 1 and 2, bad, nothing good for you, or just building up for other things, greater things later in game. 3 and 4 is going to give you points, and the sets has to have at least, there's 3 features, they have to have at least one of those features that are the same, and then the other 2 features has to be either all different or all the same. So you can have either 2 things that are the same and the other one all different, or you can have one thing that is the same and the other 2 different. Cool. So you're going to try to put that out, and then you are going to use the other little middle table, a middle board, to place your mushroom on, and you're going to place it on the tile that is missing, because every set of 3 is going to have like 1 missing tile. And then later in the game, either you or other people can complete that set to take that mushroom to get some bonus points for that. Mostly that is what you're going to do. You're going to place sets, you're going to draw new tiles, you're going to try to, in the best way possible, score victory points. And the game is going to end when either somebody has placed all their 12 mushrooms from the board, or if there are not enough tiles left in the bag to draw more tiles from it. Then you're going to count up some points. There's going to be some points for the mushrooms, there's going to be some points for the double mushrooms, which you get if you have 2 matching things in your set. And the player who has the most points after that is going to be the winner of the Glade.
Yes.
The game comes with components, and on the components is artwork, and you are the expert on that.
Yes.
Let's talk about it.
The artwork in this game is very simplistic. There are like these silhouette shapes of the different animals and features, and we think actually that the artwork has something to say for the gameplay
yes.
later, so we're going to talk more about that later.
Yes, let's put that in the bag and keep going on our trip in the Glade.
Yes, the game also comes with a rulebook.
It looks like this. It's a square rulebook. It's 12 pages long. It is a quite decent rulebook. There's a couple of things that is not in the rulebook. For example, when you're placing a tile, you can place 1 to 4 tiles, and if you're placing a set, everything has to be a set. If you're placing a set of 4, there's nothing in the rulebook that tells you what happens. Probably because it's a very low chance of you having a whole set of 4, but it's kind of weird that it's not here at all. But basically, it was pretty simple to find out. Other than that, the rulebook is fine. It was not a problem to learn the game from it. I feel many times that the games from Richard Breese has not the best rulebooks. Like, I always dread sitting down to read a key game rulebook because there's just like so much text and kind of hard to get my mind around. But this was it's a lighter game than those, so it was not that much of a problem. So I'm gonna give this a half mushroom.
A half mushroom.
And
take it or leave it.
And a mouse.
Nice.
That's gonna be my rating of the rulebook. We played the game.
Yes, we have played it with 2 and 4 players, and it has taken us 45 to 60 minutes, so within what the box says.
Which player count did you like the most?
I think that 2 was better, because it's hard to keep track of what you're doing, and then extra hard to keep track of what the others are doing, but it was fine at 4 as well.
If I were to play it again, I would play it at 2. Like, it works with more stuff happens on this middle board where you place the mushrooms, so more things are going to happen. But then again, kind of not, because when you're playing 2, it's just like going to be you and the other player, and it doesn't really matter if you are the player who take it or not. Of course, with more players, going to be more chance of people join the tiles that are needed for the mushrooms here, so that is of course a thing. But other than that, I think that it's not worth it for the 4 players. Maybe 3 players might be the sweet spot. I haven't gotten to play it with 3, but for me, 2 players.
Yes.
Let's talk about the gameplay. It's a puzzly game.
Yeah.
But it's also a game of do something with what you have. Because you're going to have 8 tiles, and we're going to talk more about. It's kind of hard to see the sets that you can place in the beginning, really depending on how your brain works. But it's kind of a game where you are dealt a hand and you do something with it.
Yes, it feels like, and I think it is loosely based on Rummikub.
Yeah, I think the box said it. Yeah.
That you have these, you have 8 tiles that you can choose from, and that are like secret, and they are designed in such a clever way. So you have so many features on them that you can make very many combinations of things. But then later, when you have something on your board, you want the specific things that matches, which then narrows down the opportunities that you have.
Yeah, I like that you are able to place wherever you like on the board. Like, it's not that you don't have to place adjacent, because the more tiles you have, the harder it is to place something, because you're placing these, and then if you place something here, it's going to be adjacent to that tile, and then that has to match that as well. It's going to be hard. But for every like loose thing that's not part of your main like cluster of tiles, you're going to lose a point at the end of the game. So you have to be sure that you might be able to get more than 1 point for that to be worth it. But I like that. You also are able to make these, it's like you're blocking out like one piece in the middle where you can't place anything, and then you can use the mushrooms to do extra actions by placing them in the middle of that, which is another like nice way of doing this, trying to not only get the actual points, but trying to put up yourself to getting more actions later.
Yes, you said like for sets of just 1 and 2 you don't get any points, but maybe that can give you that enclosed space that you need to place a mushroom there. That also is a point, by the way, and also give you extra actions. I think that creates more things you can focus on. I also like that if I don't have anything to actually make good sets of myself, I can look at the board in the middle and see if somebody else is missing something, and I can get a point in just like placing one of the specific tile that they needed.
Yeah, absolutely. And I also like that there's an advanced version called the matching game, where you are like, normally you're playing on the board that looks like this, but then you will flip it around and play on the board that has all of these different symbols. And if you place a matching tile on one of these, you're going to get a token, which is a point. And you can also use that tile to fill in like one of those squares to get an extra turn. And these are going to be different for each board, but you have these leaves that you are going to get more points if you do it earlier in the game. So I think I like that version better, because you have like more reasons for doing things. So even though you have, for example, let's say I don't have a set of 3. I only have these 2, but if I place them, I'm going to put them on there and then score a point. And I'm also going to make an enclosure so I can put it and do an extra turn. So it's like more ways to do things.
I agree. I think the middle board with the where you see like, oh, I have made this sets of 3. The last missing piece is a light green squirrel that is eating a mushroom, for example. And that is essential for playing this game.
Yes.
If you would have to look at everyone's board and see what was missing, it would be impossible to play it. So I think that is a huge help. But I do like the game.
Yes.
But there is something about, I think, how the game looks.
Yes.
Which makes my brain have a really hard time by figuring out and having like an overview of what tiles I have, how they can fit together, how they can fit together on my board, and if it could, and I like it is a mental exercise to look at the intersection on the middle board and see like, okay, it's a light green, it's a mushroom. Okay, is it a squirrel or a mouse or a toad? Because those look kind of similar. And they don't have like their separate color. They are either like they are the color of the leaf.
Yeah.
So it is so hard for my brain to enjoy this game.
It's pretty sad because the puzzle itself is kind of fun. Like I enjoy it. I think it's a enjoyable game. I agree basically with you. The way the game looks makes it harder to play. And the problem is that you are spending time and most of my energy in this game is trying to understand where I'm supposed to place things on this board.
Yes.
Because I'm placing 3 tiles and like, okay, so these are different colors. What is the last color? Basically what you said.
Yeah.
And it makes it every time you place a set, the game kind of like, oh, you're doing something, and it stops. And you have to kind of, and also you have to be like, okay, do you agree with me? Is this the one that I need?
Yes.
And even though I understand the rules and I understand how to play the game, sometimes when I play something, I have to ask you like, is this allowed? And can I actually place this? And you're spending so much time looking at your pieces and being like, okay, 100%, this can be placed with that because those are the same, but those are not the same and those are the same, so that means it's doubled. So, but I can place them, but if I place it there, then that is not the same, so I can't place it there. And that makes the game not that enjoyable to actually play.
Yeah, I agree. Most of my brain power is used for stuff that I don't think is fun.
Yes.
It's not focused on, okay, I have these, I really want to do this cool thing, and if I get that piece, I can place here. It's just like, can I do that?
Yes.
Is this allowed? If I do these two together, can I place it there?
And which one is missing?
And which one is missing? And I don't have anything to place. Okay, let's like look at the board for 5 minutes and figure out if I have the right tiles for somebody else's set.
I think this one, of course, is going to be different for people to people and brains to brains.
Yeah, of course.
But I think that like the big problem is that everything is just one color and everything is a silhouette, as you said. So it's going to be hard because if the tile had the color of the leaf, and then you could have like the actual be a nice picture of the squirrel.
Yeah.
It would be very much easier to see it and just be
that it is a squirrel.
Silhouette of the squirrel, because my brain likes to see what it is. So I think like it might have been easier to play. I don't know how much they try different things, but for me the artwork makes the game hard to play.
I agree. I get the idea that in a game it has to be as simple as possible to differentiate things, but I think that they've taken it in the wrong direction.
Yes.
I think that the simplicity actually makes it harder to play.
Yeah.
I don't know if a new artwork would fix it completely, but right now my brain is having problems with how it is now.
Yeah, I agree absolutely. So let's go to weight and who is it for. I would say that it is a lighter game. It's a light to medium game.
It
it's
is
not
like a
super
step
light.
up from Rulebook, I would say.
And who is it for? Like, of course, if you don't have a problem of seeing these things with your brain, because the gameplay is fun.
Yep.
If you enjoy abstract games, tactical games, trying to swoop in and do the best things. Oh, well, luckily I got that tile. Those things are good. And because there's so many ways to make sets, it's very often you do have sets or something good to do. So it's not one where you very often, sometimes you can be frustrated because you don't have anything, but then you can just play something and try to draw more tiles, and most of the time you're going to get something good or better. But if you don't have a problem of seeing the symbols and making your brain use that, because then I think you could like this game. So yeah.
I agree.
Before we go into the final thoughts, if you are getting anything of value out of our videos, then we would be very grateful if you could give us a victory point.
And we get victory points if you click that subscribe button down there. You can also click the bell to get notifications when we post more videos.
Yes, and like the video, comment, all of that. That's all the YouTube stuff out of the way. Let's talk about the actual game. And now, final thoughts time. You can begin.
It pains me because this is a pleasant game.
Yes.
I like the game, but I don't want to play it again, and that makes me very sad. And that is because of the things we talked about. Right now, as it is now, my brain, it's too much work for my brain doing things that I don't enjoy, that it takes a focus away from the actual lovely puzzle that it is.
Yes.
I right now don't want to keep this in our collection, and I'm sad about that because I think like he is like so close to having a game that is right up my alley. And that like I also love Rulebook. I think it's a great game, and I can see the inspiration, and I think the idea is cool. But right now I do not sadly enjoy the game too much, so I'm going to land it. I'm finding it hard to land it right now, but like 5 maybe, like an average game ish.
Yeah, I think the Glade is a fun game. I agree with you, like because of all the other things, I'm not gonna play it because it's not worth it. Like you are spending brain power doing not fun stuff instead of actually having fun playing a light, pleasant game. It takes a game from being like, oh, this is a light game we can play with family, to being like, how does this work? And I Richard Breese makes a lot of great games. We love many of the key games. I enjoy many of his games. This game didn't end up being a good fit for me. I still think it's going to be a 6. It's an above average game. Like, it might have been like a 6.5 or 7. But I don't think the artwork for me takes it down. Like, I can see it's a fun game here. But for me, I'm not recommending the game because of the artwork things. Because of my brain, but it's going to be a 6. And that's going to be the end of the video. Thank you so much for watching. I'm Johannes.
I'm Sunra.
And you've been watching Board Gaming Ramblings, and bye-bye.